The text from my father arrived at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Change of plans for mom's birthday. Keeping it small this year. Just immediate family. Hope you understand. I was in Geneva, preparing briefing documents for a UN Security Council session on international trade sanctions. My phone sat on my hotel desk next to my diplomatic passport, the one with official stamped in gold letters, issued by the U.S. State Department. I called him back despite the late hour. Emma, you got my message. I did. Small gathering, what does that mean? Just your brother and sister, their families. Very intimate. Your mother wanted something low-key this year. He paused. With your work schedule, we thought you wouldn't mind missing it. You're always so busy with those international meetings. Those international meetings. Like they were optional book clubs instead of diplomatic negotiations that shaped global policy. When is it? Saturday afternoon. 2 o'clock at the house. But really, Emma, don't feel obligated. We know your government job keeps you traveling. My government job? I was Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Economic Affairs. I led the U.S. delegation in multilateral trade negotiations. I advised the Secretary of State on international economic policy. I had security clearance that went 3 levels above top secret. But to my family, I worked some government job that required a lot of travel. I'll see if I can make it, I said. No need to go to the trouble. It's just cake and family catching up. Nothing exciting. Your sister's twins will be there. You know how chaotic that gets. Probably better if you rest after all that flying around you do. After I hung up, I looked at my schedule. The Geneva negotiations would conclude Friday evening. I had a diplomatic reception Saturday morning at the U.S. Embassy in Bern. Then nothing until Monday's meetings in Brussels. I could fly to Connecticut. I could make it to my mother's birthday, if I was actually invited. Thursday morning, my phone lit up with Instagram notifications. My sister Rachel had posted photos with the caption, "Getting ready for mom's big day. Can't wait for the whole family to celebrate." I scrolled through the images. Rachel shopping for decorations. My brother David helping set up tables in my parents' backyard. Cousins confirming they'd be there. Aunts and uncles commenting about what dishes they'd bring. The whole extended family. Not intimate. Not just immediate family. Everyone but me. I texted my father, "I can fly in Saturday. What time should I arrive?" The response took 20 minutes. "Emma, sweetheart, we really meant what we said about keeping it small. With all your important work, we don't want you to waste time on a simple family party. You should rest." I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed, "Understood." Friday evening, I wrapped up the Geneva negotiations. The Swiss delegation had been difficult, but we'd reached an agreement on agricultural tariffs that would benefit U.S. farmers for the next decade. The Swiss foreign minister shook my hand and said, "Your country is lucky to have you, Madam Secretary." If only my country's citizens, specifically my family, agreed. Saturday morning, I attended the diplomatic reception at the U.S. Embassy in Bern. Ambassador Patricia Thornton greeted me warmly. "Emma, brilliant work in Geneva." The secretary called personally to express his gratitude. "He's recommending you for the ambassador-at-large position." "I'm honored." "You should be. It's rarely offered to someone under 40. He studied me. "You look troubled." "Everything all right." "Family issues." "Nothing serious." "Ah." She nodded knowingly. "The price of service. They don't understand the work, do they? They think I'm a travel agent who occasionally attends meetings." She laughed, then sobered. "You know, we're hosting a small reception tonight. The Swiss foreign minister, several EU ambassadors, the UN Deputy Secretary General. Very informal. Just drinks and conversation about the Geneva outcomes. You're welcome to join us." "Actually, I have a flight to catch. My mother's birthday party." "They must be very proud of your work." I didn't answer. I landed at JFK at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Rented a car and drove to my parents' house in Connecticut, arriving at 4:15. The party was clearly in full swing. Cars lined the street, music drifted from the backyard, children's laughter echoed through the neighborhood. So much for intimate. I parked down the block and walked to the house. Let myself in through the front door, my key still worked, and moved through the empty living room toward the sound of celebration in the back. Through the kitchen window I could see the entire scene. At least 50 people in the backyard. Tables laden with food. A banner reading, "Happy 65th birthday, Linda." My mother holding court in the center, surrounded by family. Rachel and David on either side. Cousins, aunts, uncles, even my grandmother who lived in Florida. Everyone. Except me. I stood in the kitchen, jet-lagged and hurt, trying to decide whether to go outside or just leave. Then my phone rang. The embassy line. Emma Chin speaking. "Madam Secretary, this is Ambassador Thornton. I apologize for the interruption, but we have a situation. The Swiss foreign minister wants to continue discussions about the agricultural framework. He's asked specifically for you. Can you return to Bern tonight?" I looked out at the party. At my family celebrating without me. At my mother who'd apparently decided I wasn't important enough to include in her 65th birthday. "Yes. I can return tonight." "Excellent. I'll arrange diplomatic transport. Can you be at Westchester County Airport in 2 hours?" "I'll be there." "Thank you. The Secretary of State will hear about your dedication. This is exactly why you're being considered for Ambassador at Large." As I hung up, my father walked into the kitchen carrying empty serving platters. He froze when he saw me. "Emma. What are you? We told you it was just family." "I can see that. All 50 members of the family. Very intimate." His face flushed. "Now Emma, don't make a scene. Your mother wanted." "What? What did Mom want? To celebrate with everyone except me? To pretend she only has 2 children instead of 3? That's not fair. You're never around. You're always traveling for that job of yours. Your siblings have families, responsibilities. They're here. I negotiate international trade agreements that affect millions of American workers. I advise the Secretary of State. I represent our country in multilateral negotiations. That's not that job. That's my career. My calling. It's just government work, Emma. David runs a Fortune 500 company. Rachel married a surgeon. They have real careers. Important careers." The words landed like a physical blow. "I see," I said quietly. Outside someone had started a toast. My brother's voice carried through the window. "To Mom who always supported us kids in pursuing real success. Who taught us the value of family and meaningful work." Real success. Meaningful work. My phone buzzed again. A text from Ambassador Thornton. Swiss Foreign Minister also requesting discussion about UN Security Council collaboration. This could lead to a permanent seat for you on the International Economic Panel. Historic opportunity. I looked at my father. "I have to go. Emergency diplomatic situation." "Emma, wait. No. You've made it clear where I stand. I'm not important enough for Mom's birthday. My work isn't real enough. I get it. You're being dramatic." "Am I? You lied about keeping it intimate. You told me not to come because you're embarrassed by my government job. Because I don't fit your definition of success." I walked toward the front door, then stopped. "Tell Mom happy birthday. And tell her that while she was celebrating with the family that matters, her other daughter was being recalled to Switzerland to meet with the foreign minister. But I'm sure that's not as impressive as David's quarterly earnings or Rachel's surgeon husband." I left before he could respond. At Westchester County Airport, a State Department jet was waiting. A smaller diplomatic aircraft used for urgent government business. The pilot saluted as I boarded. "Madam Secretary. We'll have you back in Bern by midnight local time. Ambassador Thornton sends her regards." As we taxied for takeoff, my phone exploded with notifications. Instagram photos from the party. Rachel's post, "Best birthday celebration ever. So grateful Mom has all her babies here to celebrate." All her babies. I wasn't even worth a comment acknowledging my absence. Then a text from David. "Where are you? Dad said you stopped by." I didn't respond. Another text from Rachel. "Emma? Dad seems upset. Everything okay?" I turned my phone to airplane mode as we lifted into the sky. In Bern, Ambassador Thornton met me at the airport personally. "Emma, I'm sorry to pull you back. But this is genuinely urgent. The Swiss foreign minister was so impressed with your work, he wants you to lead a special joint task force. It would mean splitting time between Geneva, Brussels, and Washington. A huge honor." "What about the ambassador-at-large position?" "Still happening. This would be an addition. You'd essentially be shaping international economic policy for the next decade. She paused. It's the kind of opportunity that comes once in a career. But it would mean even more travel, even more time away from home. Home. Where my family had just celebrated without me. I accept. Sunday afternoon I was in meetings with the Swiss delegation when my phone started buzzing continuously. I ignored it until the lunch break, then checked the messages. 23 missed calls. 47 texts. All from family. I scrolled through them. Dad, please call. Your mother is very upset. Rachel, Emma, what's going on? Why did you leave yesterday? David, Dad said something about Switzerland? Thought you came for the party? Mom, Emma, darling, your father said you stopped by? Why didn't you come outside? We would have loved to see you. Then a text from my Aunt Susan, my mother's sister. Emma, what's this about you being in Switzerland on diplomatic business? Your parents said you work for a travel agency. Followed by a text from my cousin Jennifer. Wait, you work for the State Department? Why did Uncle Tom say you just did clerical work? I clicked on Jennifer's Instagram. She'd posted a screenshot of a news article. U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary Emma Chin leads breakthrough in international agricultural trade negotiations. The article detailed my role in the Geneva talks, included my official State Department photo, and quoted the Swiss foreign minister praising my exceptional diplomatic skills. The comments on Jennifer's post were illuminating. Your cousin is a Deputy Assistant Secretary of State? Why didn't anyone mention Emma is literally a diplomat? This explains so much about why she's never around. She's negotiating with foreign governments. Wait, Linda's daughter isn't a travel agent? I put my phone down as Ambassador Thornton approached. Emma, the foreign minister wants to announce the joint task force at a press conference this evening. Your name will be prominently featured. Are you comfortable with that level of publicity? Perfectly comfortable. That evening, I stood beside the Swiss foreign minister as he announced the formation of the International Economic Cooperation Task Force, which I would co-chair. Cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. My official title, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Economic Affairs, was repeated multiple times. The story hit international news within an hour. By midnight it was trending on social media. By morning my phone had 147 missed calls. I was in a strategy session Monday afternoon when my phone rang yet again. Ambassador Thornton's assistant knocked on the conference room door. Madam Secretary, I apologize, but there's an urgent call on the embassy line. Your father. He says it's an emergency. I excused myself and took the call in a private office. Emma. Thank God. We've been trying to reach you for 2 days. I've been working, Dad. International diplomatic negotiations don't stop for family drama. Family drama? Emma, your mother is beside herself. We saw the news coverage. We had no idea. We didn't know you were a deputy assistant secretary. We thought you were an assistant to someone important, not important myself? Silence. Dad, I've tried to explain my work. Multiple times. At Thanksgiving 2 years ago I mentioned leading trade negotiations. You asked if that meant I booked meeting rooms. At Christmas I talked about advising the Secretary of State. Mom asked if that meant I was his scheduler. At Easter I mentioned my diplomatic passport. David asked if that was like a frequent flyer card. We didn't understand. You didn't ask. You assumed. You decided I wasn't successful enough, important enough, accomplished enough to be included in Mom's birthday. Because my work didn't look like David's corporate job or Rachel's surgeon husband. That's not, your mother wanted you there. Then why did you tell me to stay away? Why lie about it being intimate when you invited 50 people? Why is Rachel's Instagram full of all her babies when I'm not even mentioned? His breath caught. Emma, I'm sorry. We were wrong. So wrong. Can you come home? Your mother wants to talk. To apologize properly. I can't. I'm in Switzerland. I'll be here for another week, then Brussels for meetings with EU trade ministers, then Washington to brief the Secretary of State on the joint task force. When will you be back? I don't know, Dad. My schedule is dictated by international diplomacy, not family convenience. Please. Your mother is devastated. She had no idea you were doing such important work. The work hasn't changed. It's been important all along. You just didn't bother to notice until other people validated it. I softened slightly. I have to go. I have a meeting with the UN Deputy Secretary General in 20 minutes. Emma. Tell Mom I hope she enjoyed her birthday. All 50 guests. The intimate celebration. I hung up and returned to the conference room, where representatives from 6 countries were waiting to discuss agricultural tariff frameworks. This was my world. These were my people. People who valued expertise over appearances, accomplishment over connections, dedication over family name. My phone buzzed with another text. This time from Rachel. Emma, I'm so sorry. We didn't know. Please come home so we can talk. Mom is crying. She wants to make this right. I put the phone on silent and focused on the delegation from France. They wanted my expertise on grain subsidies. Unlike my family, they recognized what I was worth.